brands that are leveraging AI and doing things to make life more fulfilling for their workforce versus making them redundancies. Do you think those are stories that brands could lean into more?
Yeah, I love that. I think we worry about that a lot. We have a huge kind of drive and point of view on workforce of the future, and our kind of our sort of hybrid model moving forward of sort of artificial intelligence, but very much human intelligence as well. And how do you get people to be upskilled as quickly as possible in all of these new tools, and therefore able to unlock some of that amazing kind of potential and imagination, the creativity that I think fundamentally sits in all humans,
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Ad Podcast. It's day 2 here at Possible, and we've got Sam Lewis, who's the SVP of Social and Creative and Media at DEPT, which is a agency based out of Netherlands, right?
Netherlands HQ, but
yeah.
We're based all over the US.
Okay, beautiful.
All over the Americas, really.
Yeah, awesome.
Personally in New York.
Okay, awesome. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about the agency, and how's your Possible been so far?
Okay, cool. So...
You want to clip this or hold it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Start with me?
Yeah.
So, you probably can tell that I'm not actually from New York.
Let's go.
Yeah.
How long you been?
So I've been here for about 4 years.
Okay.
I guess sort of career-wise, started off in the UK, kind of corporate comms first, before decent sort of decade at McCann,
nice.
back in the day when, working on all the massive blue chip companies globally like Nestle and L'Oreal and MasterCard, and did a local Olympic Games at London, which was fantastic.
Wow, let's go.
Which was so cool and great for, where we're heading in the US right now.
Yeah, LA 28, Fast and Furious,
exactly,
right? And World Cup.
FIFA World Cup, we're
lots of cultural moments.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We've got a bunch of guys who handle the media on behalf of FIFA who are going to be based out of here for the game.
Let's go.
Going to be a super one. And then, and sort of touched creative and media and design in the IPG network. So really got a taste for kind of integration, and that was kind of where things were going. But I guess wanted to jump ship and do independent world. There were certain things even back then that were a little hard to navigate in a Holdco, should we say?
Sure, yeah.
So then went to a place called CHI, which was like a sort of creative hotshot at the time, and then we had a wild journey there for sort of 12 years or so, as that expanded into a full service network, kind of boutique network globally. And that brought me here, not here, but New York 4 years ago. And then most recently came on board at DEPT September last year.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Awesome. How's it going so far?
It's going pretty well, yeah. I'm obviously biased, but I feel like their proposition of, it's half creative and media and then half experience and engineering. So it's really kind of marketing and technology. And I don't think there's many agencies who can really genuinely deliver that right now.
Build things, deliver AI implementation and transformation work, really
Totally.
Get under the hood and vibe code stuff, things like that. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, having half your workforce be engineers or builders is definitely a unique capability.
Really, I feel like we've got, some really smart kind of ideation, conceptual thinkers who are really pushing the boundary of what could happen next now that kind of barriers to production are lower. Now that there's sort of infinite possibilities just limited only by your imagination, and then you've got, half the workforce, literally 50-50, who can make those dreams come true.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. And on top of that, we've got an insane client list. So, lots of them because they're sort of fast-moving, innovative AI brands as well. We can't say too much about,
of course.
But it really is a kind of a creative person's dream, I think.
That's awesome. Love it. So, talk about Possible this year. What are you guys doing to show up and activate, and what are you taking back to the teams?
Yeah, so we're sort of, I guess, first time callers, long time listeners to Possible. Like this is, there's a couple of us here, small team, little
Cool.
vanguard.
Nice.
You know, been remarkable what these guys have achieved in quite a short space of time, I think.
Yeah.
Like
It's kind of came out. Last year was my first year. Prior to that, it wasn't really on my radar, and then all of a sudden, like within 2 years, it's like, oh, we're the North American Can. You know, I think that's kind of no one will ever be Can, but it's definitely a good jumping off point. I think.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. I think that was a really smart positioning, actually.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And you know, and I like it. Actually, funny enough, we were talking about this last night.
Yeah.
There was a definite moment to like walking back to and fro along the front there that was reminiscent of walking to and fro on the Croisette, because you're sort of bumping into people, you know, saying hi, fixing up some meetings. So mainly we're here to see if we need kind of bigger presence next year. I mean, we go.
You guys do a beach activation, I think it can, right? Like you take over an entire section.
Exactly. So we've got a little secret garden going at Cannes, which is actually won some awards because it's a nice little oasis in the chaos there. So you should come down there.
Yeah, I'll definitely stop by.
Doing that again this year. We're big at CES, where we take a whole we do 2-3 days of programming, and we were huge at Adobe Summit last week.
Oh yeah.
Shop talk is big for us. So it's fortunately we're in the position where we're growing quite nicely. So we're just kind of seeing what's out there. And we're really enjoying it. Taking a bunch of meetings, few with brands, lots with kind of vendors, just to make sure
up to date on everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our proposition and our kind of approach to tech generally is a bit more kind of best in breed, where we build bespoke for clients. So it's not like we're selling one SaaS solution. Do you know what I mean? We sort of fundamentally believe that.
Yeah, you're agnostic and let the best outcome win in each instance, and
exactly.
And
so
then
we
help build and customize with partners.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So bring the best of breed to each solution. We've got preferred solutions, but depending on the brief, it might require something different. So it's great to be able to see what is cutting edge. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's a ton of really interesting stuff here in audience work, kind of measurement. Did a bit of press yesterday about outcome-based media planning and buying. I think there's been some real innovation in that space. Measurement, also some of the operational kind of back-end stuff that, for an organisation like ours, which is growing quite a lot, those are things that we always like to stay on top of as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Any content that was must-see for you this week? Charlemagne the God or Martha Stewart, or any celebrity moments that you felt like you wanted to make sure was on your dance card, or are you staying more busy on the meeting side?
I think I've been too boring and meeting focused to get any of that. No, we were at I did a great talk this morning actually, which was about kind of building brands in AI, which is actually very similar to a panel that we ran at CES. How about fundamentally brand building doesn't change, right? It still needs to be built on distinctiveness, differentiation, trust, emotional connection. I think you can slightly lose that in the hype cycle at times, so it was refreshing to hear that point of view this morning. I was very pleased that the conversations have moved slightly more structured and sophisticated.
Yeah, it's away from kind of just like AI is hype. It's kind of, now it's more brass tacks, a little bit more practical. Here's the roll up your sleeves and how we're doing things.
Totally. I think if there was one mild criticism of some of the sort of new kind of ad tech vendors out there, it's that I think they could work on their messaging a little more.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of brands that look like they were generated on ChatGPT, right?
Totally. And it's like everyone's going for speed as the only differentiator. It's it's all about efficiency. It's all about speed to market. It's all about put it in this magic ad machine and you'll get the answer. Yeah. Which we all know isn't necessarily true. It's also slightly willing our industry into obsolescence, I think. So I think maybe there's a little note there that some of the vendors might need some messaging support.
Some help on that as well. Yeah, thinking about the idea, I was at IAB in Palm Desert, and Zach from OpenAI, who was the kind of the original go-to-market for ChatGPT, talked about marketers needing to be tell more stories about optimism, because there's a lot of fear in the world, and there's fear around job replacement, but even existential fear, do these things eventually take over and shoot nuclear bombs at us or something crazy. So there's, I think, justifiable fear, but a lot of opportunity for optimism. A lot of really cool stories, like we talked about that the component where IKEA, was able to replace their entire customer service team with AI, but not replace them, turn them into interior designers, and it's like a new revenue stream, and they're doing more fulfilling work. That's a case study that I've heard, but that's really a brand story, in my opinion. If they were to tell that story to the consumer, I think it would win more brand love for the brand.
Yeah.
Do you think brands that are leveraging AI and doing things to make life more fulfilling for their workforce versus making them redundancies, do you think those are stories that brands could lean into more?
Yeah, that's a great case study.
Yeah,
I hadn't heard
I know.
that.
I was really, it was one that I, definitely latched onto, and maybe IKEA, that's their culture probably, right? They're very people first, customer centric, design centric,
and a huge part of their brand and culture, as you say. Yeah, I love that. I think we worry about that a lot. We have a huge kind of drive and point of view on workforce of the future, and our kind of our sort of hybrid model moving forward of sort of artificial intelligence, but very much human intelligence as well. And how do you get people to be upskilled as quickly as possible in all of these new tools, and therefore able to unlock some of that amazing kind of potential and imagination, the creativity that I think fundamentally sits in all humans. I think we are a pretty optimistic company, maybe part of our Dutch heritage, and I think we're very keen to unlock that side of all human potential as well. And that's partly where I think the most interesting opportunities are for AI. In some of the meatier parts of our industry that do need reform, like measurement or kind of customer journey, or some of the audience lookalike planning, or quite frankly all of the absolute dross of digital banner advertising that exists online anyway. Some of these things would be great to up level.
Totally. Love it. All right, Sam, if folks want to follow along, stay up to date with your thinking, or learn more about DEPT, where do you want to send them?
Okay, yeah, so come to deptagency.com and you can see our relatively new positioning from the beginning of the year around growth invention company. Or if people want to personally get in touch about anything, I'm Sam Lewis on Instagram and on LinkedIn.
Let's go. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate your time.
Cheers, Dylan.
Cheers.
Thank you.